Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Sam's Auto Arena in Laredo, Texas. This was Monday Night Raw's go-home show for Money in the Bank, which is this Saturday, which is going to be from Las Vegas. And what do you expect with Monday Night Raw? As always, the show sucked tonight. The show was awful. The show revolved around John Cena returning because tonight marks 20 years since John Cena debuted in WWE. Can't believe it's been 20 years. God, I'm getting old. I remember when John Cena debuted. I remember watching that SmackDown where he debuted against Kurt Angle. But that's basically what Monday Night Raw revolved around tonight. John Cena returning, them having the 20th anniversary celebration for him. You know, what a career that John Cena has had. Great career. And one of the greatest WWE superstars of all time. But we got on Monday Night Raw tonight a Money in the Bank Last Chance Battle Royal. We have Montez Ford versus Jey Uso. You know, last week we saw Jimmy versus Angelo Dawkins. And this week, we got Montez Ford versus Jey Uso. Watch next week, we're going to get Jimmy Uso versus Montez Ford. Or Jey Uso versus Angelo Dawkins. Watch we get that next week. Either of those two that I mentioned. Watch we get one of them next week. So we saw that. And then we had AJ Styles versus The Miz. We had Liv Morgan versus Alexa Bliss. Bobby Lashley ended up taking on the Alpha Academy in a 2-on-1 handicap match with a special guest enforcer being Austin Theory. And the main event, the woman main evented the show tonight, where it was a Money in the Bank Last Chance elimination match, which was obviously predictable, which we all knew who was going to win it. But that was Monday Night Raw. Overall, terrible show aside from John Cena's return and WWE giving him a 20th anniversary celebration. But if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded earlier today, reviewed Forbidden Door, you know, the AEW New Japan show from last night, which was a very good show, very entertaining, the best AEW pay-per-view of the year, in my opinion. The crowd there in Chicago last night was hot throughout the night, from when the buy-in started all the way to the end. And I'm like, that's how you keep a crowd entertained. Tony Khan knows what he's doing with AEW and, you know, their pay-per-views. Forbidden Door was a good show last night. Absolutely entertaining. With great wrestling. And I already know that they're going to do a Forbidden Door 2 next year. And there's talks about bringing that show to Japan, which will be cool. So, talks about Forbidden Door 2 for next year. But check out my Forbidden Door review if you guys haven't seen it. And I'm like, how do we go from a very good show in Forbidden Door? We go from that last night to shit known as Monday Night Raw tonight. A big step down from Forbidden Door last night. We're watching Monday Night Raw tonight. Big step down. What do you expect? It's Monday Night Raw. But let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw opened up tonight with John Cena. It was a video from earlier today of John Cena arriving backstage in the arena. There was a large number of superstars from Raw and SmackDown there to greet John Cena. John Cena was shaking hands with them, and he ended up shaking a referee's hand. The referees were greeting Cena as well as he made his way through the backstage area, so Cena was shaking hands with the referees also. And it was a long walk, which took several minutes for Cena to, shake hands with everybody. So Cena was just shaking hands with them, and then, he walked off. But it was good to see Cena return, for this special 20th anniversary celebration for him. And then we went to the first match, which was the Money in the Bank Last Chance Battle Royal, which obviously predictable. Both the men's and women's Last Chance Money in the Bank matches were predictable. So this was your typical Battle Royal. You had Akira Tozawa in there. You had Veer Mahan. You had Rey and Dominic. You also had R-Truth, Jinder Mahal, and his So You Think You Could Dance buddy, Shanky. The Miz was in there. T-Bar, Reggie. Ciampa was also in there. So Akira Tozawa was the first one to get eliminated. And then Veer Mahan eliminated Shelton Benjamin. Rey and Dominic, they tried to grab Veer Mahan, but Veer Mahan ended up powering out of Rey and Dominic. Veer Mahan ended up grabbing both Rey and Dominic by their throats, and they ended up escaping, and they ended up tossing Veer Mahan to the middle rope. Rey and Dominic end up delivering a double 619 to Veer Mahan. Then they eliminated him, to which Veer Mahan landed on his feet when he got eliminated. Then we saw R-Truth and Shanky squaring off in the ring. And Shanky, of course, busting a move, just dancing. So you think you could dance Shanky. Jinder Mahal ended up cutting off R-Truth. Shanky ended up tossing R-Truth. And Jinder Mahal tried to toss AJ Styles, who was also in there. Jinder Mahal ended up sneaking up and eliminating Shanky. Styles then eliminated Jinder Mahal. You had T-Bar end up press slamming Reggie onto the guys who got eliminated on the floor. So Reggie got eliminated by T-Bar because he press slammed Reggie. So you had Ciampa end up delivering a lawbreaker to Riddle, to which Riddle was, of course, in the Battle Royal. And they showed Ciampa eliminated Mustafa Ali, so continue burying Mustafa Ali, of course. So Ciampa ended up trying to toss AJ Styles. Styles ended up hanging on. Styles pulled Ciampa out to the ring apron, shoved him into the ring post, and Rey ended up missing a 619 on the Miz. Miz couldn't eliminate Rey. Dominic ended up trying to clothesline Dolph Ziggler out of the ring, and Ziggler held it on. Dominic ended up getting eliminated. He spilled to the floor. Dolph ended up lifting Rey for a powerbomb. Rey ended up holding on to the top rope. We had, Dolph Ziggler ended up throwing Rey from the ring apron into the barricade. Rey ended up crashing to the floor, so Rey got eliminated. Dolph Ziggler and Miz ended up trying to eliminate Riddle. Riddle ended up hanging on. And we had T-Bar end up charging at Ricochet. Ricochet ended up ducking, and T-Bar tumbled to the apron. And Ricochet ended up saving himself because T-Bar was going to eliminate Ricochet. So Ricochet ended up saving himself. He landed on one of the ladders that were set up at ringside. Ricochet leapt back to the apron off the ladder. He ended up delivering the head scissors on T-Bar, and T-Bar ended up going down to the floor hard, and T-Bar got eliminated. So it was down to The Miz and Riddle. They were the final two. Styles ended up getting eliminated by The Miz. So it was down to Miz and Riddle. Miz ended up tossing Riddle over the top rope to the apron. Riddle recovered and got back in. Riddle hit the draping DDT on The Miz, and he was going to set up for the RKO. And Riddle was going to go for the RKO. Miz reversed that into a skull-crushing finale. Miz ended up charging at Riddle, which he was against the ropes. Riddle ended up catching Miz in a triangle choke, and he pulled both him and Miz to the apron. Miz ended up slipping out of the hold, and they were still on the apron. Miz ended up charging right into an RKO delivered by Riddle on the apron. Miz fall to the floor and got eliminated, so Riddle ended up winning the Last Chance Battle Royal, so Riddle will be in the Money in the Bank match, which obviously was predictable. So there was one open spot in the match. There's one guy that still needs to win a Last Chance Money in the Bank match. So it needs to be filled. So one spot is still open, which that match will probably take place on SmackDown this Friday. So Riddle's in Money in the Bank, which obviously predictable. So then we saw the Street Profits. The Street Profits were backstage. They were hyping up John Cena being on Raw tonight. So John Cena joined the Street Profits, and the Profits end up wanting some advice from Cena for their match against the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, the Usos, at Money in the Bank on Saturday. Cena ended up running down their championship wins. He ended up telling them to never forget how good they are. And the Profits realized that they must never give up. Just like what Cena says. Never give up. But basically that was that. So then the Usos end up making their way out, Jimmy and Jay. And so Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, we had video messages for John Cena because, of course, 20 years. So we saw video messages from Shawn Michaels, Paul White, the Big Show. I'm surprised that WWE contacted Paul White to give a video message for John Cena because, of course, Paul White is with AEW. And that's not the only AEW superstar that they got to, wish John Cena, 20 years, happy 20 years. So we have Booker T and also Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. He recorded a video message for Cena. Another guy that's what AEW gave a video message for John Cena. And then Trish Stratus did a video message, and also Triple H. So it's good to see Triple H, after the stuff that he has gone through, with his cardiac, arrest, and also him not being in control of NXT, which, by the way, Triple H might regain control of NXT. There was news about that. So I'll believe that when I see it. I'll believe when I see change on Tuesday nights going forward on NXT. So as long as I see change in NXT on Tuesday nights, then I will know that Triple H has control again. But still, NXT is still running under Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon. So we have video messages from those stars. And then we went backstage. Kevin Patrick ended up interviewing Riddle. Riddle ended up saying that his win tonight was for Orton. Same old with Riddle saying, I'm dedicating this match to my buddy Orton. Oh, this win tonight was for Orton. Same old with Riddle. It's the same old shit that he says every single week when he has a match. Oh, I'm dedicating this match to my buddy Randy Orton. Oh, this win was for Randy Orton. Oh, me qualifying for Money in the Bank is for Randy Orton. It's the same old. So Riddle ended up saying that his back was against the wall. But then Cena told him to never give up. And now the bro is going to Vegas. So that was what Riddle had to say. So then we had the Street Profits end up making their way out. And then we had the match, Jey Uso versus Montez Ford, which was a decent match. But how many times are we going to see the Usos and the Profits go at it? So Jey Uso ended up backing Montez Ford into the corner. Both guys end up locking up. Ford ended up grabbing a headlock to ground Jey. Ford ended up taking down Jey with a shoulder tackle. Jey responded and delivered a flying forearm to Ford. Jey ended up whipping Ford toward the corner. Ford ended up delivering an arm drag to Jey to ground him on the mat. Jey Uso ended up escaping, and Montez Ford ended up delivering some leapfrogs to Jey, and then he did another arm drag. Ford ended up connecting with a drop kick, to which Jey ended up rolling out to the floor. Montez Ford headed out to the apron, and Jey ended up tripping him, and he ended up whipping Montez Ford into the ring steps. As Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Jey was in control of the match. He was stomping away on Montez Ford in the corner. He whipped Ford into the corner. Ford ended up charging out of the corner with a clothesline, and both him and Jey were down. Yet Ford ended up delivering another clothesline. He ended up escaping a backdrop suplex. Jey ended up hitting a super kick to Montez Ford's gut. Ford ended up responding with a flying clothesline. He followed that up with a standing moonsault onto Jey. Ford ended up going for the cover, to which Jey kicked out at 2. Jey ended up hitting a backdrop suplex to Montez Ford, and he went for the cover, to which Ford kicked out at 2. You had Jey Uso charged at Montez Ford in the corner. Ford was ready with a super kick, to which he laid to Jey Uso. And then Ford ended up hitting a blockbuster to Jey. He ended up going for the cover, to which Jey kicked out at 2. You had a point where Montez Ford was on the top turnbuckle. He connected with the frog splash, and he almost hit his head on the Money in the Bank briefcase. So, with the height that he had. So, he connected with the frog splash onto Jey. He ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Montez Ford ended up winning the match. The overall was a decent match, but how many times are we going to see these guys go at it? Watch next week. It'll be Jey Uso versus Angelo Dawkins. Or Montez Ford versus Jim Uso. Watch they do that next week. And then we had Rey and Dominic Mysterio. They ended up bumping into Finn Balor and Damian Priest of Judgment Day. More like DOA-ment Day, Dead on Arrival-ment Day. Because ever since Edge was kicked out, this stable has been just awful. You have Rhea Ripley out, so now it's just Balor and Damian Priest. If I heard, their last match was on Main Event. The last match that Balor and Damian Priest had was on Main Event. So yeah, that tells you where WWE is going with Judgment Day. DOA-ment Day, as I would call them, because, like I said, they are dead on arrival ever since Edge was kicked out of the group. So Balor ended up thinking everyone is forgetting that Rey's 20th anniversary is also coming up soon. So Rey Mysterio's 20th anniversary is also coming up soon. Damian Priest ended up saying that the Judgment Day, or the DOA-ment Day, is about to take over everything. So Priest started staring at Dominic. He talked about leaders who lead people down the wrong path. So Balor and Damian Priest end up walking away. Rey ended up yelling out a challenge for a match with Balor and Priest next week on Raw, which is going to be in San Diego next week, which is the hometown of the Mysterios. So next week the Mysterios are going to lose in their hometown. It's typical WWE. When they're in a certain superstar's hometown, 95% of the time, they end up losing. So expect the Mysterios to lose to Balor and Priest next week. And then we had highlight videos showing images of John Cena's career. And then they tossed the commentary team, Byron Saxton, Jimmy Smith, Corey Graves, tossed to a highlight video of John Cena's career and included a look of his work with Make-A-Wish. John Cena is very big at donating for Make-A-Wish, and shows his highlights of him interacting with the military and also his work in Hollywood. So a very good highlight video of Cena's career. And then we saw Kevin Patrick. Kevin Patrick was in the ring to introduce The Miz. So Miz got informed that Logan Paul is plotting a return to the ring. Oh, God, help us all. Help us all. God. So they end up showing pics of Logan Paul training. Miz ended up saying that him and Logan Paul will return as a tag team at SummerSlam. Oh, God. God almighty. Help us all. So I guess WWE is going to forget, Logan Paul turned on The Miz. We're not going to get Miz versus Logan Paul. So WWE wants to make us forget that even happened. So Kevin Patrick ended up playing the clip, of course, of Miz turn on Logan Paul after the match at WrestleMania. Miz ended up saying that he's the biggest full-time superstar in the company. He ended up saying that he'll be on the Today Show later this week. He ended up plugging Miz and Mrs. Once Again, which of course airs after Monday Night Raw. Typical plug by The Miz. Every single week that he's out there, he's got to plug his show to get views and good ratings for USA. So Miz ended up saying that celebrities who come to WWE want to leech off of his fame. Miz ended up saying that he told Logan Paul after he turned on him at WrestleMania that it was a teaching lesson. So Miz was asked about the Battle Royal earlier. He ended up saying that the only disappointment is AJ Styles. So Kevin Patrick insists on mentioning about Miz's tiny balls. Once again, we got still mention about Miz's balls. Why are we still writing about this? Why are we still including, Miz has tiny balls into the script? Why? Who's writing this shit? It's absolutely fucking awful. Awful fucking writing. Miz ended up saying that this is not going to be a thing. You have telling the size of his balls. Oh, God. So fucking awful. And then Styles ended up interrupting. He ended up making his way out. Styles walked straight down to the ring, and he leveled The Miz with a punch. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Awful segment. Absolutely awful. And then we had AJ Styles versus The Miz, which this was just very meh, in my opinion. And they ended up saying that Adam Pearce made the match during the commercial. So Styles ended up hitting the drop kick. He laid out The Miz. Styles followed up with a backbreaker. Miz ended up reversing the whip. He ended up taking out Styles' knee. Miz ended up following with a kick to Styles' head. He started choking Styles over the middle rope. He kicked away at Styles in the corner. Styles came back, blocked a punch from The Miz, and Miz ended up reversing the whip, hit a flying clothesline into the corner to Styles. He followed it up with a double axe handle from the top turnbuckle. He went for the cover, to which Styles kicked out at 2. Miz started grounding Styles with a chin lock, and Styles quickly fought to his feet. Styles ended up dodging the Miz, who was charging at him, and Miz ended up spilling out to the floor. Styles ended up slingshotting himself out to the apron. He backflipped to the floor. Miz ended up slamming Styles into the apron, and he also sent Styles into the barricade. So as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Miz ended up grounding Styles with a chin lock. Styles ended up fighting to his feet, elbowed out of the chin lock, but he ran into a boot by the Miz, and then Miz laid Styles out with a DDT, and Miz ended up going for the cover. Styles kicked out at 2. You had later on, Miz ended up trying to go for the skull crushing finale. Styles ended up rolling him up. Miz kicked out. Styles hit the Pele kick and delivered a brainbuster to the Miz. Styles ended up going out to the apron to set up for the phenomenal forearm. And then Miz ended up rolling out of the ring. He ended up walking up the stage. The referee was counting. And the Miz didn't even get back into the ring. He kept on walking. Miz went to the back. So Miz got counted out. So AJ Styles won the match by count out. Whatever. Match was meh, in my opinion. And then we went backstage. John Cena was talking to Ezekiel. Supposedly the Kevin Owens versus Elias or Ezekiel or Elrod. What the fuck is an Elrod? Apparently that match got canceled tonight. Thank God. I hope we never get that match. I hope we never see it. I hope it's canceled for good. This whole feud between Kevin Owens and Elias, Ezekiel, needs to fucking end. It needs to. This has been going on since after WrestleMania. It's time to end this feud. So we had Ezekiel end up saying that it's an honor to meet Cena. He ended up saying that his brother Elias is here somewhere. And their brother Elrod is around. John Cena ended up telling Ezekiel to never forget who he really is. So Ezekiel ended up departing. Austin Theory ended up walking up behind John Cena. Theory ended up saying that he won't introduce himself because everyone knows who he is. He ended up saying that they should be celebrating Theory tonight because he's here every week. He wanted to say that he's 24 and he is the youngest United States champion in the company. And John Cena wasn't even in the company at 24. Austin Theory turned around to get a selfie with Cena. Cena ended up walking away before Theory could end up taking the selfie. And pretty much that was basically that. And then we had Bianca Belair end up making her entrance. This was a face-to-face with her and Carmella. So that was taking place after the commercial. So as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had more video messages to John Cena from certain WWE superstars. We saw from Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, JBL, Chris Jericho, another superstar who was with AEW. From what I heard, I guess they contacted WWE or AEW contacted some of the superstars who are in AEW to do like a video message for Cena. Like they got Jericho, Big Show, Daniel Bryan, and I guess Tony Khan ended up agreeing. So we all got to thank Tony Khan for letting Big Show, Bryan Danielson, and Chris Jericho give a video message to John Cena. So I'm glad that TK ended up agreeing to that and making that happen. So we also had, Stephanie McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So all those got, delivered video messages for John Cena. So then Kevin Patrick was in the ring to interview Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair ended up saying that everything she has to say, she wants to say to Carmella's face. She once said that she thought Carmella would have the confidence to face her without attacking her from behind. She ended up saying that Carmella doesn't respect herself. Bianca ended up saying that Carmella has the potential to be great, but can't see it because she's too insecure. She ended up saying that she craves competition and that Carmella better bring it all at Money in the Bank. So Bianca ended up calling out Carmella in the big-ass state of Texas. So Carmella came out. She ended up saying that Bianca Belair is so wrong about her and that she's not insecure at all. Carmella ended up saying that she's got beauty and brains. She ended up running down her resume and accolades, saying, oh, she won Money in the Bank. She ended up saying that if she doesn't get the respect she deserves, she's going to take it. Carmella dropped the mic. She ended up going to leave. Carmella did her whole, Mella is money. Kevin Patrick ended up deciding to ask Bianca Belair one more question. And then Carmella ended up saw an opening to attack Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair ended up kicking Carmella away. And she ended up standing tall. Carmella was on the floor. And pretty much that was basically that. Overall, cringe segment this was. This match between Carmella and Bianca Belair is going to be a bathroom break at Money in the Bank. It's going to be for the Raw Women's Championship. Obviously, Bianca Belair is going to retain the title. So if you want your bathroom break at Money in the Bank, that match is your bathroom break. So we went backstage. Sarah Schreiber was interviewing both Liv Morgan and Alexa Bliss, both women who are going to be in the Money in the Bank match. Alexa Bliss ended up saying that they are friendly, but not friends. And Alexa Bliss was holding Lily. So Bliss ended up expecting that Liv Morgan to be a champion someday. Yeah. WWE will not let Liv Morgan be champion someday. Liv Morgan being champion someday? Give me a break. Liv Morgan is talented, but the way that WWE is booking her, this one will never win a championship in WWE, which is sad. So Liv Morgan ended up recalling some wisdom from John Cena. She ended up saying that she'll beat Alexa Bliss tonight and also in the Money in the Bank match on Saturday. So Alexa Bliss did a whole boop with Lily, like she took Lily's, the doll's arm and booped Liv Morgan, and then Liv Morgan did a boop to Alexa Bliss back. Very cringe. Then we had Liv Morgan end up making her way out. And then Alexa Bliss then made her way out after the commercial. So we had Alexa Bliss versus Liv Morgan. Asuka was on commentary. Asuka, of course, talking gibberish on commentary with So that was pretty much what Asuka was on commentary. But this match was boring. Both Bliss and Liv Morgan locked up. Bliss ended up grabbing a headlock and took down Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan ended up escaping with a head scissors. Liv Morgan ended up grabbing a waistlock to Bliss. Bliss ended up reversing it into her own waistlock. Liv Morgan ran into the corner to escape and delivering a splash to Alexa Bliss. Liv Morgan ended up charging Alexa Bliss, but Bliss ended up getting her knees up. Bliss ended up missing her knee drop, and Liv Morgan ended up taking her down. So Alexa Bliss ended up going for her DDT. Liv Morgan ended up reversing that into a roll-up. And there you go. Liv Morgan ended up getting the win. So Liv Morgan was celebrating post-match. Alexa Bliss didn't look pleased that Liv Morgan won the match. Pretty much that was basically that. Overall, very boring. And then we had Mr. McMahon. Vince McMahon ended up making his way out. So Vince was handing a mic, to introduce John Cena. Of course, Vince has to be on TV to get those ratings up. Vince is only there just for a ratings ploy to get the ratings up. And because of the whole, lawsuit thing that's going on with Vince, which we all know. So as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Vince was in the ring. We had the superstars lined up on the entranceway. McMahon was saying that there are many accolades about the man he's about to introduce. He was saying that it's an honor and a privilege to introduce John Cena. So typical Vince on there for a minute on TV. So Cena ended up making his way out. Corey Graves and Byron Saxton on commentary referred to Cena as the greatest of all time. And Cena is the one of the greatest WWE superstars of all time. And, I'll never forget where I was when he debuted 20 years ago tonight. I was watching SmackDown on UPN Thursday nights. Remember, SmackDown being on Thursday nights, as a kid, if you grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, SmackDown was always on UPN from 8 to 10. And he walked out, John Cena walked out, and he took on Kurt Angle. And, Kurt Angle was like, "Who are you?" And then, "What do you expect to bring?" And then John Cena was like, "Ruthless aggression." And then he punched Kurt Angle and went right from there. Even though Cena lost the match, Kurt Angle ended up winning it. He still had a few more matches with Kurt Angle. And never would I have expected 20 years ago tonight that John Cena would be the face of the company in the years to come. But John Cena has had an amazing career. I was a big Cena fan. Yeah, great rivalries. One of my favorite rivalries was him and Edge. Edge at that point was one of the best heels of in the company at that time. And just his rivalry with Cena was absolutely great. And their whole feud started at New Year's Revolution 2006 after John Cena defeated Carlito, Chris Masters, Shawn Michaels, Kane, and Kurt Angle in the Elimination Chamber where the WWE Championship was on the line. And then you had Vince McMahon come out there, introduce Edge. Edge came out, he cashed in his Money in the Bank because, of course, Edge was the first ever winner of Money in the Bank, which he won at WrestleMania 21. So Edge came out, cashed in the briefcase. He ended up defeating John Cena after John Cena went through hell in that Elimination Chamber match. So Edge became the WWE Champion, and their whole rivalry went from there. So, but it was a very good rivalry. You had the tables, ladders, and chairs match that they had at Unforgiven 2006, where John Cena ended up delivering the AA to Edge off of the ladder, and Edge went through the tables, which that was pretty crazy. And then John Cena won the match. He won back the WWE Championship, and that was the whole stipulation where if Cena lost, he would have to leave Raw and go to SmackDown. So, but really loved Cena and Edge's rivalry at that time in 2006. And then, of course, you can't forget John Cena's rivalry with JBL in 2005. That was just a great feud there where they end up having a match at WrestleMania 21. I remember before the WrestleMania 21 match, they had like a whole sort of like face, like the whole like face to face or face off on SmackDown, where you had a podium in there. It was like a debate with Cena and JBL in there, and Theodore Long supervised all that. And you had John Cena end up taking JBL's hat off. He poured a gallon of water in JBL's hat and then put it back on JBL's head. And JBL was just drenched in water. And John Cena ended up having spray paint, spray painting JBL's shirt, which was funny. He was like, "I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you." It was just very funny. And then, of course, you can't forget the I Quit match that they had at Judgment Day of that year, to which JBL ended up losing. Very bloody match that was. And, of course, at the end of the match, you had John Cena end up striking JBL with a pipe. It caused JBL to fall through the glass panel that was part of the stage there. So it was one of my favorite matches. Just that whole I Quit match with Cena and JBL at Judgment Day 2005 was just awesome. So that's definitely a John Cena match to check out. I just loved their feud in 2005 with Cena and JBL. So John Cena has done a whole lot in the company over these 20 years. I'd be here all day just talking about my favorite matches of John Cena. I'll be here all night, just talking about that. But anyways, we had Cena end up getting on the mic, and he was in the ring. John Cena ended up saying that he calls today his WWE birthday. He ended up saying that he can feel the energy in the arena. He ended up saying that he couldn't think of a better place to have his birthday. Cena ended up saying that he's never been one to celebrate milestones because he always wants to look forward to what's next. But he ended up saying that tonight is different. Cena ended up saying that tonight has nothing to do with anything he's ever done. He ended up saying that it has everything to do with the fans. He wants to say that this anniversary is important because the fans have allowed him to do this for 2 decades. See, I'm saying that every time he steps in the ring, it's because the fans allow it. I'm saying that they've created an environment where he can be himself. I'm saying that the fans have been brave enough to tell him when he sucks and kind enough to tell him when he doesn't. Of course, the whole, let's go Cena, Cena sucks chants. Cena has his lovers, Cena has his haters. So Cena ended up saying that he's always wanted to say thank you. And this feels like the right moment to do that. So the fans were chanting, "Thank you, Cena." Cena ended up saying that his heart is beating out of his chest. He ended up saying that he has to say thank you for making him who he is. He wants to say he's always told people that WWE prepared him for anything. He ended up saying that he's not talking about his movies and TV appearances. He says it's the fans who made him a better human being, a better professional, a better husband, and a better person. Cena ended up saying that the fans taught him humility and perseverance. He ended up saying that they taught him to give his all every time he steps into the ring. He wanted to say that he's 45 years old and he doesn't know when they'll see him in the ring again. He ended up saying that that doesn't mean he won't. He just doesn't know when that's going to be. Cena wants to say that he has to say this now. He ended up saying anything he does outside this isn't about him. It's about we. Cena ended up saying that it's never been about him. It's always been about us. He ended up saying that he's been coming to Laredo, Texas for 20 years. He ended up saying that we never give up. We're just getting started. He was like, you want some? Come get some. So Cena ended up dropping the mic, and he made his way back up the entranceway. He headed backstage, and that was how the celebration ended. I'm really glad that they had Cena go out there and say what he had to say and not get interrupted by somebody. So I'm really glad that they gave him time to say what he had to say. But this was good. This was very good. John Cena has had an amazing career in WWE. And all those people out there who have hated Cena, saying, oh, he sucks. Oh, he's the same old shit with him. With the whole, you can't see me, 5-knuckle shuffle, AA. All those people that said that Cena sucks and they hate him, when he goes into the WWE Hall of Fame, all those haters are going to bend back and praise Cena in going into the Hall of Fame. So that's what's going to happen. All those people that hate him, they're all going to bend back and praise the hell out of Cena when he goes into the Hall of Fame. But very enjoyable segment it was. Probably the best thing on Monday Night Raw tonight. Everything revolved around Cena. But take out John Cena tonight, and this, of course, still would be a typical terrible Monday Night Raw. And this show tonight was still terrible with Cena there. Take out John Cena, it would have been fucking awful as always. And then we had the 2-on-1 handicap match. Bobby Lashley versus the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis, with the special guest enforcer being Austin Theory. And Theory was wearing a referee shirt. And this match was very boring in my opinion. Same old. Otis started off against Bobby Lashley. They locked up. Lashley ended up trying a shoulder tackle and a clothesline, but it did nothing to Otis. Lashley ended up delivering a drop kick to take down Otis. Lashley ended up hooking Otis for a suplex. Theory jumped on the apron, and Lashley ended up getting out of the ring to go after Theory, and Chad Gable hit Lashley with a somersault dive from the apron, and then Otis followed that up with a splash on the floor to Bobby Lashley. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Lashley was fighting back against Otis, but he ended up running into a boot by Otis in the corner. Otis ended up grabbing a vice grip on Lashley's head. So Theory was taking some selfies on the floor. Lashley ended up fighting to his feet, but he ran into a back elbow by Otis. Chad Gable tagged in. Lashley ended up blocking Gable's punch. And he fought off both Otis and Chad Gable. He ended up dodging Otis, who spilled out to the floor. Gable ended up chop blocking Lashley from behind, covered him, and Lashley ended up kicking out at 2. So in the end, we had Otis ended up climbing to the second turnbuckle. Lashley ended up carrying him out on his shoulders, slammed him into the mat. Chad Gable flied into the ring. Lashley caught him in the Hurt Lock. And there you go. Bobby Lashley ended up winning the match. Post-match, Theory and the Alpha Academy end up attacking Bobby Lashley. We have fans chanting for Cena because, we all thought that, Theory would come out and that will set off John Cena and Theory going into SummerSlam. But my prediction is maybe Cena will be at Money in the Bank on Saturday. I think possibly Cena will be at Money in the Bank. He faces off with Austin Theory, and that sets up Cena versus Theory at SummerSlam. That's where I see it heading. But who knows if WWE will do it? Who knows if Cena will be at Money in the Bank on Saturday? We'll have to see. But that's where I see it headed. But overall, very boring match. There was one point in the match where Lashley ended up powerbombing Otis, which was cool. So then we had Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes ended up delivering an interview. He ended up saying rehab is a game of highs and lows. He ended up saying that it pales in comparison to where he was at a few weeks ago, when he was in the prime of his career. He ended up saying that he wanted to parlay that momentum into more at Money in the Bank. Cody ended up saying that the sledgehammer attack caused his recovery timetable to be extended to 9 months, which I don't think Cody Rhodes is going to be out for those 9 months. I think we'll be seeing Cody return at the Royal Rumble. So without a doubt, he'll be back for the Royal Rumble. So Cody Rhodes ended up discussing the Money in the Bank match. He ended up saying that Drew McIntyre and Sheamus have Harley Race-like toughness. He ended up saying that Sami Zayn has a genius-level IQ in the ring. And Cody ended up saying that if Seth Rollins were to win Money in the Bank and cash in to become the new champion, it would be something. Which I sense Seth Rollins winning Money in the Bank and cashing it in. It's going to be WrestleMania 31 all over again. So Rhodes ended up saying that if Rollins wins, he'll be the first to congratulate him. So pretty much that was basically what Cody had to say. But like I said, Cody will be back for the Royal Rumble. It's going to be a John Cena return, like when Cena returned at the Royal Rumble in 2008. Nobody was expecting Cena to return that quick. And Cody Rhodes is going to be in that same position. So he's going to have like a Cena-like pop when he returns for the Royal Rumble. So we'll be seeing that. So then we saw John Cena backstage. John Cena was talking to, I guess, a crew member. Rollins ended up walking up, and Rollins ended up asking if Cena remembers the time he broke his nose. Rollins ended up saying that he and Cena have a lot in common. He ended up mentioning that Cena failed when he cashed in his Money in the Bank. Rollins ended up saying that he had the greatest cash in ever. Of course, at WrestleMania 31, which is one of the best WrestleManias that WWE has ever produced. Rollins ended up turning around, and Omos and MVP were behind him. MVP ended up saying that he has a vision of Omos standing tall at Money in the Bank. He ended up saying that no one can stop him. Cena was staring at Omos. He ended up patting Rollins on the back and ended up saying, "Good luck." And then he ended up leaving. But I said, Seth Rollins, could win Money in the Bank, I see, and cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. But can you all imagine if WWE gives the win to Omos? I have a sickening feeling that WWE is going to have Omos win the Money in the Bank briefcase. But I have that sixth sense feeling that WWE is going to pull that. So then we had last chance Money in the Bank qualifying elimination match for the women. Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler versus Xia Li versus Tamina versus Doudrop versus Nikki ASH. This was the main event of Monday Night Raw tonight. So elimination is won by pinfall, submission, countout, DQ. We all know how elimination match works. So all these women ganged up on Becky Lynch. She ended up spilling out to the floor. Doudrop and Nikki end up double teaming on Shayna Baszler. Tamina end up clearing out Xia Li to leave her alone against Doudrop in the ring. Nikki ended up jumping in to help Doudrop double team on Tamina. Tamina ended up fighting off Nikki. Her and Doudrop ended up trading strikes in the center of the ring. Doudrop headbutted Tamina. So Becky Lynch and Xia Li end up coming to the ring. Xia Li end up getting some offense. And Nikki ended up coming in. We had Becky Lynch end up hitting the manhandle slam. She ended up pinning Xia Li to eliminate her. So Xia Li was the first one to be eliminated. So, but in the end, I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but because it was predictable, Becky Lynch ended up winning. We all knew that Becky Lynch was going to find her way into the Money in the Bank match. So Becky Lynch is now in the Money in the Bank match. Obviously predictable. Like I said, both the men's and women's last chance Money in the Bank matches were predictable. We all knew that Riddle was going to being Money in the Bank, we all knew that Becky Lynch was going to be in Money in the Bank. So that was Monday Night Raw tonight. Overall, terrible show. Even with Cena there, take out Cena and the show would still be fucking awful. Just the whole John Cena 20th anniversary segment was, very good. And I forgot to mention Bobby Lashley Alpha Academy match. Since Bobby Lashley won, expect him to lose at Money in the Bank on Saturday. So Theory will be retain the title on Saturday. But anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's Monday Night Raw. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys Wednesday night for AEW Dynamite. They're going to be in Detroit. It's going to be Blood and Guts, which maybe I'll do a live reaction to the Blood and Guts match like I did last year. So I'll do that, and then, of course, the review. So until then, see you all Wednesday for Dynamite.